All right. Hello, 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 Lionesses. Wherever you may be and where you are seeing our faces and hearing our voices, welcome to the Unstoppable Lioness Show. I am your host, Dr. Quillette James, and I'm always thrilled to be able to get together with you, be it live or if you're catching us on the replay. But I have a special show for you today. You know, we normally do multiple segments, and a lot of my lionesses that have their own segments that they come on. However, I have a special treat for you today. We have Lioness Dorothy Hart with us today, and she is going to be sharing with us for the whole broadcast. So we will not be breaking out in segments. And I believe that all of you lionesses are going to find today's show very, very interesting. But I'm going to put out here a special little caveat to our more seasoned lionesses, because as you can see, Dorothy and I are not 20 years old. Nor do we want to go back to 20. All right. I love my young lionesses and all that is ahead of you, but I am so grateful to be in this season of my life. You have no idea. And I believe that Dorothy has a lot of different things that she is going to share with you that you will understand that she's happy to be in her season of life as well. Dorothy is in ministry. She is the CEO of her own company, Dorothy Hart Enterprises, and she has a wealth of knowledge and experience that she brings to the table as we share with you ladies today. Here's the caveat. And the reason that I believe that you're really, really going to enjoy what Dorothy has to share. Those of you that follow the show, that my life took a drastic change a month ago. And I have been walking through my journey with you. But here's the thing that I talked to Dorothy about earlier today that I think is really, really important, that we as seasoned women, okay, because I'll never be old. I'm getting older, but I'll never be old, okay? But we as seasoned women, when God steps in and says, I'm just going to change the trajectory of your whole plan at this season of your life, and you have to step into the newness of where he's carrying you in spite of all the different things that you may be walking through. This is why I'm putting this special caveat out here for my seasoned ladies, because we sometimes get to a place in life where we feel that we've missed our timing. The dream is a faint memory. And we just can't recapture what we once thought we could do. Well, Miss Dorothy, Lioness Dorothy, I'm going to turn the floor over to you for a few moments so that you can share with our lionesses who you are and the fact that at this season in life, it's just getting started.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I want to say I'm excited about being here today. I'm a visionary woman and with a kingdom mindset, as she said, and sometimes we feel like we've missed the point, but we have to jump into that superwoman power. And, I have to find myself operating in that every day because I've been called to equip, to empower and encourage other women and other people to walk boldly into their God-given purpose. And that's what it's all about. I wear many hats, as she said. I'm an author, I'm a life coach in personal and professional development, and an educator by trade. So my philosophy in everything I do is to educate, elevate, and exalt, and to execute the plan. But I can't do anything without God. And that's more than a motto. It's how I live and I lead every single day. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's an awesome story. Let me tell you, ladies. Serious. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, Dorothy, where do you find yourself in this season of life? Are you taking on new projects? Are you just skating through in a place of being comfortable and you don't want to rock the boat? Or are you finding that God is turning your world upside down and saying, I got more for you?
Yeah, not turning. Yeah, I feel that I'm in that turning. You know how you see the mice in that little
Mhm. And the
wheel, and
wheel. Yeah, the little
yeah,
hamster
just
in the
going
wheel.
around, and then when it stops and pause for a moment, you realize I've shifted. I'm
Mhm.
into another season
Mhm.
of my life right now. I've built a platform that brings together faith and strategy and transformation. And all the time, God is working with me on the inside of me so that comes out on the outside. So that's why I offer coaching, because a lot of times what I serve to others, I'm serving to myself. I'm speaking it to me because I'm in that season of shifting. I have to spiritually empower myself, with some of the experience that I go through. As you and I were talking earlier today, I was telling you about the loss of my dear sister. And then a couple of weeks after that, I lost a dear, dear friend, who wanted to honor and celebrate me in a tragic accident. One death was unexpected, and the other tragically happening. So it's difficult when you're dealing with business and trying to live life, and then grief hits you all of a sudden. You never know when it's going to come, and I'm sure that we all experience grief in some way, some form, or some fashion. It could be a loss of a relationship, a divorce. It could be a loss of a job, a transition, because in being a independent business person, I'm an independent contractor, I'm a consultant, and I have to learn how to shift each time I'm done with the contract and move into another contract as a shifting mechanism. But when you lose a loved one that is so close to you and that means so much to you, sometimes even you get fogged, and you're trying to grow professionally, you're trying to grow personally and spiritually. You have to create that space for growth and create that space for healing and breakthrough. It's not just business, it's ministry to yourself, that marketplace ministry. And sometimes how they say, the song say, I have to encourage myself, through and invoke the vision that God has put in me. Being a kingdom strategist and a visionary, there's a vision. God says, see the end from where you are right now, because you're going to win. I know it seems like a little struggle, but I win. And then it puts me in that mode to execute. I have to think, execute every day. I have to put that superwoman power on, because that superwoman power comes from on high.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I share with the ladies a lot that the reason I believe that God gave me the motif of the lioness is because she is such a majestic creature, but she is so fierce and tenacious in everything. Even in her relationship with her lion, it's like she is that one. If you watch the videos, you see she'll slide up to her lion and just kind of rub up against him and just give him that love. But if the wrong lion comes at her the wrong way, I've not seen a lion win against a lioness yet. Okay?
That's true.
And I watch a lot of lion videos.
Absolutely, you're right.
She's fierce. She's fierce. Or God forbid, an outside lion wants to come in and attack her cubs.
Yes.
She's fierce.
Yes.
And she does not back down.
No.
So I love that about the lioness and the lioness spirit, plus the fact that our elder brother is the lion of the tribe of Judah. So if he's a lion and he's our elder brother, what does that make us?
Okay. We're winning all the time. We just got to believe it, and we have to feel it. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of women, a lot of lioness out here that's trying to get to where we are in our mindset, in our youth. They're trying to get there. The women out there balancing their careers and their families and their dreams and their disappointments, and don't stop moving forward. I want to encourage you to do that. As lioness, you got to fight, keep fighting, and see yourself winning and keep moving forward. You have the power to pivot anytime you need to pivot, but you got to be in tune with self. You got to reinvent every day and continue to rise. It's important to do that. Your purpose is not defined by your position. Okay. Keep that in mind. And your value isn't tied to a title or what I said I carry many hats, but my value is not tied to that title. It's how I keep pushing, how I keep showing up, and how I keep building, and how I keep believing. And most importantly, just knowing that you're not behind, you're in preparation. Whatever you're going through, you're being prepared for that next season in your life. And that's how I live. And that's how I was trying to navigate through the grief moments that I was feeling and having in my life when I lost my loved ones. And you too, Colette, has lost a loved one so dear to you. And man, how I've enjoyed seeing your power, your strength, and how you allow yourself to navigate and pivot and reinvent, even though there's going to be moments when it's going to hit. And we don't expect it. It just comes. I have those moments, but I want to encourage these lioness out here that you have to keep moving and you have to keep believing, keep reinventing and pivoting and shifting.
I think what's really, really important that when we get to this season of life, that we understand and recognize the value we possess.
Yes.
Okay. So we have the distinct honor and privilege to speak into the lionesses that's coming up behind us, to share what we've learned, our experiences. You get to a place in life, like I tell people, I am unapologetically me at this season of my life. Okay. I had a conversation with somebody very close to me recently, and they were saying, somebody that I really consider as my baby sister, that she doesn't think you like her. I said, let me tell you something. You know me. I'm just straight. I don't know how to be anything but me, right? And I said, I'm not going to apologize because I have one relationship with one sister and a different relationship with the other sister. Yes. I said, because you have to understand something. My baby sister, I was taking her places where I was taking my kids. We didn't develop that same kind of relationship that I have with my little sister. Okay, so I got a baby sister and a little sister, right? My little sister, and these women, this family, I've been a part of this family for 54 years. My first love was my mom. I call her my mom. It was her oldest son, and he's deceased now. But I developed this relationship with his sisters and brothers, and they've been my sisters and brothers ever since, right? But the baby does not understand the level of my relationship with the sister that I'm the closest to. Well, she's been my little sister since she was 12 years old. And we developed a relationship very different than the baby sister, who was, like I said, I was taking her to places I was taking my children to.
Yes.
It's on a different level. Doesn't mean I don't like her. I love her.
Yes.
But I'm not going to apologize because I don't have the same relationship. And if she takes that as I don't like her, then I'm sorry. And my next word was tell her, call me. Okay. Yes. This is where we make mistakes in relationships. We're so busy talking to other people instead of talking to the person that there's an issue with. Yes. We, as seasoned women, we can talk to the younger ones and help them navigate where they're going. Because we, as I started saying, are in this place in life, we're unapologetically who we are because we've lived the life and developed the right.
Absolutely. Yes. The expectations of our experiences evolves as we get into this season in our life. And then we become unapologetically who we are without interruption. And we don't mind taking the time to help you evolve and grow into that because you will become that. I was mentioning earlier about grief. From what she explained just now, Colette, what you explained about your sister, she's grieving a relationship. She's grieving a relationship with you. You know, she's going through that, not understanding, not realizing you're still here. All she has to do is come to you and have a conversation. Let's talk about it. I'll help
Exactly.
you understand. There's different challenges, there's different experiences, different things that we did along the way that caused that balance in the relationship I have with her and the difference between the relationship I have with you.
Yeah,
So you can grieve and grow all at the same time, but you
absolutely.
got to be open to receive that growth, and that transformation while you grieve. So hopefully that she won't rush that process.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and don't lose hope in it either at the same time.
Again, after 54 years, if you don't know me by now, if you don't know that you've always been able to come to me, you've
Yeah,
always been able to talk to me, you know I'm a straight shooter. You know I'm not going to candy coat or sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell you exactly how it is, but I'm going to do
absolutely.
it in love. If you
Yeah.
don't know that by now, and maybe that's the problem because I have told you some things that
Yeah.
you didn't appreciate, but
Wow.
I'm the big sister.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't try to help you along the way in love, not I was never in judgment, never in disparity, nothing like that. But if I don't share with you what I see, and this is not just in sister relationships, this is in
Mm-hmm.
relationships, period. One of the things that Dorothy and I have experienced, so that you young ladies understand, we've experienced life.
Yes. Yes.
And what does that mean? It means we have bumped our heads against brick walls. We have got
Mm-hmm.
in our own way. We have made bad choices and
Many times.
decisions. We have had to stand up under
Right.
our learning
Mhm.
experiences. I don't call them failures, I call them learning experiences. We have had to push past them to get to the place of success. I have another broadcast that I do weekly called Supernatural Success. How do you get there? You get
Right.
to supernatural success when you learn that you need God's super on your natural to really be successful. That's how you get there. But we've
Yeah.
had to walk that out and learn that firsthand. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this to encourage you young ladies, number one, not to take when an older or more seasoned woman
That's
tries to
right.
give you advice, not to be so defensive
Mm-hmm.
against the device.
That's right.
Listen, I've shared this before, and this is a true story. One of the stupidest things I ever said in my life, ever,
What
in
was
my
that?
almost 70 years. Okay, seriously. My mother was trying to explain something to me, and I said to her, I was a teenager, and I said to her, "You've made your mistakes. You need to let me make mine."
That
And
was a nugget.
I tell you, that had to be the stupidest thing I have ever said in my life. Because here is this woman who was seasoned and
Right.
trying to help her daughter not go through the hardships and the pitfalls that she went through. And
That's what
here,
it's all about.
stupid me talking about, well, you made your mistakes. I need to make my own. Like, what?
And the kids nowadays, or the young women or young men, whomever we're talking to or dealing with, they are saying and thinking that way because they don't think we've had those experiences. We've been young, we've been foolish, we made some mistakes. But the importation of wisdom that we bring to the table, please openly receive it because we're only trying to help you. And as she said, it's out of love. It's
It
a
is.
different form of love. It might be a different type of love from what you're receiving, but as you get more seasoned, like we are,
Mhm.
you'll be more open to receive it, because everything that we do and say, we're doing it out of love. We want
Yes.
you to realize that when you get to a certain level in your life, because every stage, every decade, I realized that I should have did something different, or I
Mhm.
should have listened to somebody that was back there that was more seasoned than I was, had more wisdom than I had. I should have allowed them to impart into me and take it and go with it. But instead,
Absolutely.
I wanted to give them my 2 cents of it.
Again, yeah, not thinking real straight.
But as a lioness, you gotta allow yourself to roar
Yeah,
in a way where it's productive.
it is.
Okay, because you
Yeah.
can roar in a way and set yourself back. put a delay process in your
Yeah.
growth,
Yeah.
and you want to be able to see your success go. And you're going to make some mistakes. But listen,
Listen, at this age, we're still making some mistakes.
right.
We're still
Absolutely.
going through learning processes.
Absolutely.
We're still there.
Life
And
is
that
still
brings,
good no matter what.
yes. And that brings up my second point. My first point, young ladies, hear
Uh-huh.
us and embrace the wisdom that we bring to the table. Second point, though, is for my seasoned lionesses,
Mhm.
don't just shut down because the young lady is trying to share something with you.
That's true.
Okay. Because they're experiencing life on a different level at that age than we did.
That's right.
I never worried where's my phone hanging on the wall? Like, I need to charge it. No, it's plugged in. I don't need to charge anything. Computer. What is a computer? I was from the era of, oh, I got a beeper, girl. I was doing something because I had a beeper.
I can relate. Yes, I had one.
Understand that this younger generation of lionesses, they bring some new fire to the table. My board
Yes.
of directors for Lioness Warrior Kingdom, we were meeting, and we had probably been meeting maybe about 4 months, something like that. And I told my ladies, I said, you know what? We need some young blood here.
Yes.
We need
Yes.
to, I'm the oldest thing here, but we need some young blood in here because
Mhm.
we need to understand as we're reaching out to the lionesses, we're reaching out to them across the board. So we
Yes.
need to understand what a 25, 30-year-old lioness is
Mhm.
experiencing. So we're
Right.
not missing her. We're
That's
not
right.
missing what we need to be imparting into her life and receiving for her life. So
Exactly.
I pulled in a young lioness to the board. Invaluable information.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. And
Invaluable.
we don't want to miss those opportunities because they're
Mm-mm.
in a game that we wasn't in. And there
Yes.
are things that they bring to the table that we need,
Yes.
and it helps us to stay youthful. It
It
helps
does.
us to stay inspired. So I liked entertaining and spending time with those lioness. They're
Mhm.
important. They're valuable to me. No
Yeah.
matter where you are in life, we have to
Mhm.
remember that we are becoming.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
doesn't matter what season you're in, what age group you're in. Those young lioness is just as powerful
Yes.
as those seasoned lioness. So we have to stay focused and
Mhm.
continue to trust God no matter where we are in the process, even when the path isn't clear. Those young
Yes.
lioness have a clear path sometimes. They know technology.
Exactly.
Okay, they got that
Exactly.
technology thing down, the computers,
Mhm.
all of this social media stuff, they got it down.
Mhm.
Okay. So they can help us out, be there and say, don't worry, I got your back. So at the same time, we're gonna have your back too. So we
Absolutely.
appreciate you guys.
So it takes us all working together.
Yes.
My thing says there's power in your roar. There's
Oh,
power
yes,
in your roar, and
yes.
it's power in your roar at whatever stage of life you find yourself in at that appointed time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I just experienced the loss, the transition. I don't like to call it loss, the transition of my
Transition.
husband.
Yeah.
All right. This is a new arena for me. This is
Mhm.
somebody that I have known since 1979. It's a long
Wow.
time.
Yes.
We had been married in the second marriage because we were married, divorced, and then remarried. We had been remarried 31 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is somebody that I had literally been walking through life with. But I
Mm.
said something to somebody, and ladies, because in January I was speaking at a women's conference, and one of the women, the young women, she probably was maybe 30 years old, and she had written a book, and her book was about the loss of her husband at that young age
Oh, wow.
and how it had just propelled her life spiraling down because she saw
Mm.
herself living life and growing old with this person, and he developed a sickness and was gone like that.
Gee. Wow.
So grief hits us at various different stages of our lives. But
Yes,
here's
it
the
does.
kicker. And I said this to somebody about a week and a half after my husband transitioned, and they looked at me very strange. And I don't know if they thought I was being disrespectful or what, but I was speaking what I was speaking to myself out
Mhm.
loud.
Yeah,
And that was, my husband transitioned, but I'm still here.
that's right. Yeah,
I did not get in that coffin with him. I'm not buried with him. I miss him terribly.
yeah,
And I would love for him to still be here, but I didn't die when he did.
that's
So
right.
therefore, there's still things and purpose for me to do and to go on. So in your stage of grief, because we all walk through grief in different ways, we handle it differently.
Yes.
I know you miss your sister. I know you miss
Yeah,
your bestie. I know that that's a hard thing. And then back to back, that's got to be
yeah,
traumatic,
it was.
right?
It
But
was. It
you're
was
still
really traumatic.
here
Yeah.
and you still have purpose. And so, ladies, as you're processing whatever it is you're walking through, like Dorothy said, it could be a loss of a job, it could
Yeah.
be a loss of a home, it
Mm-hmm.
could be a loss of finances with the
Finances.
stock market doing whoop, 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 whoop. It could be so many different things, and
Yeah.
you're still grieving it because it's a loss. Recognize that it may not be where you want it to be right now or how you would perceive it to be right now, but you are still here.
Yeah. That is absolutely true. And that's a good nugget to drop on them right now because they have to remember. And I say to you all that you were born with purpose, regardless to where you are right now. And everything that you've gone through is being used to shape your legacy. You
Mhm,
still have a legacy to carry
mhm,
on. And when she
mhm.
was saying that her husband transitioned, she didn't transition. She realized I still have a legacy to carry
Absolutely.
on. I still have
Absolutely.
purpose,
Yes.
and that's another way to look at being unapologetically you. You got
Mhm,
to keep moving. You got
mhm,
to walk with intention. You
mhm.
got to allow yourself to be led by grace. It's
Yes.
going to take grace for that and
Yes.
live like you believe who you are
Mhm.
because you are somebody. Okay.
Mm.
You are somebody, and God gave you a purpose
Mhm,
because you are. Okay.
mhm.
You are. And you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am.
Yes. Yes.
I am. You have to
Yes.
remind yourself daily to get above whatever it is you're going through.
Mhm,
Be unapologetically you
mhm.
because you have a legacy to leave behind. Her husband transitioned, he left his legacy. He left memories, he left dreams, conversation, thoughts, a whole
Yes.
lot. He left his legacy. She got
Mhm.
to carry on that legacy.
Absolutely. And
And he,
honor it.
and
And
yes,
honor it. I
absolutely.
mean, this was a phenomenal man of God. This was
Yeah.
a man that got up every morning and
Mhm.
carried us before the throne of God every single day.
Yeah.
That's a powerful legacy. He didn't do that just for us to shrink back and swivel up and just die. No.
Right.
He was speaking into our future. And I
Yeah.
said this last week. I said, you know what? And now he's face to face. So
Yeah.
imagine what he's speaking into existence.
He's
Okay.
probably saying, all right, God, 'cause she's down there trying to do this and she's trying to do that, God. So can we just talk about Dr. Colette James for a moment?
When I got my doctorate, it was the funniest thing, right? And when they when they got ready to put my sash on, my husband is in the audience talking about, all right, Dr. Baby.
Dr. Baby, I love it.
Everybody like fell out. My professors and everything, everybody fell out. But it was like, okay.
You will always be Dr. Baby to him.
Yeah.
He saw you as doctor now. Yes, I recognize that. I honor you
And
as
I'm
doctor,
proud of you.
but you
I'm
still
proud
my
of you.
baby. You still my baby.
Yes. Yes. So,
That's
when you think back
beautiful.
on things like that, it's like it gives you what you need to propel
Yeah,
you forward. He
yeah,
was my biggest cheerleader. So,
yeah.
what would I look like if I sat down and didn't press on? Now,
That's right.
I've had a rocky month. I'm not going to lie to you. My emotions been up, down, in, out,
Yeah,
and all over the crazy place.
I can relate.
I
Yes.
feel like I'm just getting my focus back to where it needs to be. And I'm grateful for that. But in the midst of the up, down, and in and out, all of you ladies, you can testify. I still was sharing. I was still going forth.
Yes,
I
you
was
were.
still sharing the journey.
She
I
was
was,
being a lioness.
you know, seriously, like I still had a roar.
Yes.
I still
She
had a
was
roar.
roaring. I sat back and I looked. I said, look at her. I was pulling strength from her, you know.
Mm,
I was making sure I go back and grab every nugget that I could from her.
mm,
And I was like, okay, God, she got this. I got this, you know, because you're setting the example. She put the example before me and I gleaned from it, you know, and I
yeah.
pulled off of it. And I'm grateful for it because what you focus on is how you shape how you're going to
Mhm,
live.
mhm.
And, you know, so I was focusing on getting through, you know, I got to keep going. I got to make it. So I can't let what I see or what's going on or what's happening to me make me forget about what God said about me.
Yes.
I already know who he said I am.
Mhm,
I already
mhm,
know my purpose.
mhm.
I already know what I'm supposed to be doing. So I can't allow the temporary struggles, you know, to cancel my eternal promises. And as I watched her, I was like, man, she's powerful.
Mm,
She's a lioness for real. She's out here roaring in spite of. And I'm sure she had her moments. I'm sure you did.
absolutely.
You know, you had your moments to, you know, because we have our moments. We don't know when we're going to shed a tear, a smile, or share a joyful memory, but those are moments of healing and process that we all grow through. We go through and we grow
Mhm.
through. It's a growing process. Remember, we have
Yes.
to stand firm.
Mhm,
We got to trust God
mhm,
and, you know, and see with the eyes of faith.
mhm.
That's what's important. Seeing with the eyes of faith.
Mm,
He's working it out for our good. No matter what it looks like,
absolutely.
no matter what it feels like, it's
Yes.
all being worked out.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
you're going to become that. And we
To
see,
your good and to God's glory, it's going to be
yes,
worked out.
absolutely.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's
Yes.
what's fantastic about it, you know. And sometimes you just got to sit back, just sit back, you know, and be out of the limelight sometime because
Mhm,
it's not
mm,
always
mhm.
about being seen or being
All
out
right.
in front. It's
Yeah.
about being involved.
Exactly.
He's trying to download, allow him to download. He's trying to change your trajectory now. You're on a different path, you're
Mhm,
shifting. So allow
mhm.
him to download. So it's not about, as I said, being out front, it's about being involved. Just get involved, hear from him, you know, get with some of these lioness out there that's going through what you're going through. No matter
Mhm,
how young you are, what season you are, there's somebody
mhm.
going to be there to encourage you and to lift you up. Your true impact is gonna come from when you just put yourself out there with what God has given you. You know, let go because you're gonna need that time to refuel, to
Mhm.
build up. You know, refuel. Go to the pump. You know, sometimes we just need to go to the pump and get some gas. You know, and refuel ourselves. Get in the Word. You know, it doesn't always come from showing up or
It doesn't. But
you
you
know.
know what's really, really important, Dorothy? You just shared something, and I think that everybody needs to take this to heart because the way you said that you were watching me and you got strength from me, I
Yeah.
have women like I have a spiritual mother that I picked up the phone and called like probably 3 days after he transitioned and said, okay, mother, how do I deal with this feeling lost? Because I'm not used to this.
Right. This is new.
Now she's in her 80s.
Wow.
But she walked out where I was at 15 years
Wow.
prior when she lost hers. And she was the
Mm.
one who said, baby, you do it moment by
By
moment.
moment.
It's
Yes.
not day by day, it's moment
Moment
by
by
moment.
moment.
Because
Wow.
every moment will bring something different.
Yeah.
Now, I was walking through my moment by moment and inspiring you. She had walked through it, and I was able to pick up a phone and say, how do I do this? And she was able to share. Ladies, you have a roar that you need to release.
That's right. That's right.
You have something. I don't care if you're 20 or 90.
That's
You
right.
have something
The
that
power is there.
somebody needs to hear.
That is so true. That is so true. Yes.
You need to release your roar.
Yeah.
Make yourself available to
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
Someone within your peer group, someone that you are mentoring, something. But you need to make sure that you are releasing the purpose for which you were created. Dorothy talked about that. She knows her purpose.
Yes.
She knows why she's here. I tell you this all the time. You are not a mistake.
No.
You were created on purpose, for a purpose, and you need to walk in that purpose. Dr. Miles Monroe said that when you don't know the purpose of a thing, you will abnormally or abuse it. Abnormally use it or abuse it.
Yes.
I did that for myself. I abnormally used and abused me for the first 32 years of my life because I wasn't surrendered to God. So I was doing whatever came up, came out. It was just like, okay. I self-abused because I didn't know the purpose for which God had placed things within me.
Yes.
I've always had a boldness of tongue, always, all my life.
Yes.
A bunch of trouble, but all my life. But I did not understand that God gave me that boldness not to tear people down because I was walking in that place of bitterness because I had been deceived and betrayed and hurt. And so now I'm casting that same pain on other people.
Right.
That wasn't the purpose of the boldness that he gave me. The boldness that he gave me was to be unapologetically encouraging.
That's right. Yeah.
To be able to speak life to you and not take down. Whether you receive it or not, I'm still going to speak life to you.
Yeah. And sometimes it seems like it's brutally honest, but it's not intended to be brutally honest in a painful way. Right. It's meant to empower you, to equip you, to give you tools that you can transform your thinking by and become a strategist for the kingdom and for your purpose, because it's not always, as I was saying earlier, it's not always about being out there in the spotlight. I don't have to be seen, but I can serve. I can serve with purpose.
You still have a roar even in the background. Go ahead.
Yes. Lioness roar in the background because they serve with intention. They stay faithful to their assignment because when you serve, that's when your blessings come down and you receive more, whether people see you or not. Exactly. So don't worry about being seen. The purpose is being fulfilled, being obedient. That's the purpose. And not being applauded. Yeah. I don't have to be applauded. Just keep doing what I'm doing, And people are going to come against you. They're going to say things about you. Your feelings going to be hurt. They're going to disconnect you from their circle. But appreciate that because God is closing doors because he's taking you somewhere else, taking you to a new level. He's elevating you. Okay. Elevate, allow him to elevate so you can educate. Yes. Because you're being built up as a kingdom strategist. So you can elevate to educate. He's equipping you. Everything that you're going through, you're being equipped to be better. So receive from young lioness and those seasoned lioness. That's what we're here for. We're here to give back. And remember, it's not always out front. Right. Okay. You don't always have to get an applause. God sees you, he hears, and he knows. And when you do it unapologetically, as she said, and be brutally intentional, you're going to get the great reward. It all comes.
And you don't shift how you present. So like back in the day, it wasn't kind. It wasn't out of love. It was just, I was hurt. Wounded people wound other people. Yes, if you don't allow yourself to heal. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So now I am honest, and it might feel a little brutal, but you'll also feel the love that I'm showing in it. Right. Because I shifted how I present. All right. It's still the truth. It's still as God would give me to give it to you, but it's with love. And we're always, even like on my job, If I have to discipline somebody, I will never leave that meeting on a down note.
Wow.
I am going to explain to you possibly what you did wrong, where you can do better, but I'm always going to build you up and show you the good qualities as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. It will never be just, no, because I'm not going to tear you down just to leave you out there. I don't want to tear you down. I want to build you up. So if I point out your weaknesses, I also have to point out your strengths.
Right.
So that you can marry the two and get better. We all have strengths and weaknesses. We
so
all have things that we struggle with and things that we're like really cool. This is second nature to me.
And you know what, guys? When I see her and I see her pouring out the way she pour out, I see her serving, giving back. And, you know, I see strength. I see power. And it says experience, wisdom, you know, and that's what you have to take from it. You have to, when you get in a place where you know who you are and you understand your purpose, you will see the opposite. You won't be offended. You won't allow yourself to be offended. You're going to take from that, okay? Because we're at a place in our life and our seasons right now, these great seasons that we're in, of helping people rise.
Yes.
And it may not feel good, but there's a lot of lioness out here that's in some stuck places. And we want them to step boldly into their purpose. And how do we get them to do that? Be unapologetically us. Help you to realize who you are. You know, have to tell you.
God says we are a peculiar people.
Yeah.
We're a holy nation.
Very peculiar.
A royal priesthood, but we're a peculiar people. We need to embrace that peculiarity.
Yeah.
Embrace the uniqueness of who you are.
Absolutely.
You know, now Dorothy and I are both encouragers. We're both out here to build you up, to make sure that, you know, you recognize and embrace the greatness that's within you.
Yeah.
But we present separately and differently.
Yes,
because
we do.
She's uniquely who she is, and I'm uniquely who I am. And there are people that God has uniquely called to each and every one of us to reach.
Absolutely.
So stop trying to fit in. Stop trying to be who you see us be. Be who God uniquely created you to be. When you're unapologetic, you're embracing you. You're good in your own skin. I don't fit in Dorothy's skin. Dorothy doesn't fit in my skin. But guess what? Here we are together, and we're laying and spitting some fire out here for you lionesses that you can grab a hold to and grow with. Because she brought her portion and I bring mine.
Absolutely. How I wished I could fit in her skin, though. But let me say this to you ladies out there today, and a lioness, should I say, you know, whether you're rebuilding after a loss or something, you're transitioning your careers and you're going to go to another job, or you want to go to another job, or, you know, we got compassion for you, and we're going to help you get there, because these are challenges that you have to face, and you got to figure out how to navigate them. So I believe in pushing you forward spiritually. I believe in pushing you forward emotionally. That's important. You know what I mean? And strategically, you got to have a strategy for how you're going to move, because your destiny is going to demand movement.
Yes.
You cannot get there without movement. You can't sit and wait for your destiny to fall in your lap. So in order to get that, you need lioness, seasoned lioness, who's going to coach you, who's going to assist you and help you navigate the path, that don't mind sharing. So embrace it. Embrace us, okay? Because as she said, we want to empower you. And that begins when you stop surviving and just start becoming. You need to become. It's important.
Who God says you are. That's what you're becoming. Who God said you are, not who some crazy person back in your past.
I got a chill when she said that. It just shook me.
You know, who God says you are.
That's right.
That's what you need to aspire to. So Dorothy, we got less than 1 minute. We got 90 seconds. share with the Lionesses how they can connect with you and get in touch with you.
I am Dorothy Hart. You can find me on all social media platforms, and my website is under construction right now, but it's dorothydhart.com. You can also find me there. Okay, so feel free to reach out to me on any social media platform. I'm also on LinkedIn as well. Okay, as I said, the website is dorothydhart.com. All right. So reach
Awesome.
out to me, send me a message, inbox me on any of the social media platforms, and I'll get back with you. It's been a pleasure chatting with you all today. Thank you for allowing me to roar.
Thank you, my sister. We so appreciate you. Lionesses, you know what to do. Roar.